Good morning, everyone, from Chitose, Hokkaido, Japan's tundra of a city. Chitose is south of Sapporo, Sapporo being Hokkaido's largest city, and Chitose is where the international airport is located. So kind of like what Narita is to Tokyo. It's a crisp winter morning. There's a fresh blanket of snow on the ground. You can see people out shoveling this snow. And what better conditions than this to grab ramen in? I'm walking to Chitose's top-ranked ramen restaurant. It's also one of the top-ranked in the country. I'm gonna try and grab 2 bowls while there. Super pumped and hungry. Let's do this. Hello there, and thanks for tuning in to 5 AM Ramen. Think of 5 AM Ramen as your dedicated ramen channel on the ground in Japan. I'm Frank, your ramen-loving host, and it's gotten to the point where I feel more like a bowl of ramen than a human being. This is the 9th episode in what's been a heavy-hitting Hokkaido ramen series. Hokkaido is Japan's northernmost island. It's cold in the winter, when I'm there now, and nothing beats winter temperatures like hot ramen. Let's just say that Hokkaido takes its ramen very seriously. As for what we've done in the series so far, let's bring you up to speed. We started in Hakodate for clear shio ramen, then went to Sapporo for hearty miso ramen and a bunch of other ramen styles. From there, it was Asahikawa for lardy shoyu ramen, and then back to Sapporo, because there's just too much ramen to be had in Sapporo, Hokkaido's capital and largest city. As I mentioned, we're now in Chitose, south of Sapporo, and there's one ramen shop in Chitose that rules the roost, and it's Menya. They're a prestigious ramen shop, being on Tabelog's top 100 East Japan ramen list. Since Menya is a little hard to get to, trudging through the snow in my case, we're grabbing 2 big bowls there, and I mean big. With a full stomach, here's my recap after Menya. Oh my goodness, those were big ass bowls. It's going straight to my Filipino booty. Oh man, I'm stuffed. So back-to-back bowls there. And before I talk about them, just a heads up again that this place has a lot of recognition. In 2017, Michelin recognized them, and they're also part of Tabelog's Hyakumeiten, or more specifically, top 100 ramen restaurants in East Japan. That includes Hokkaido, according to Tabelog. So the hype is there. Did they deliver? Yes, of course. And you definitely get your money's worth. Those are, again, big bowls, ginormous bowls. Now, I mentioned at the beginning of the video, try to do 2 bowls. It wasn't so much I'll try to eat 2 in a row. If you've been following this channel, that's not exactly an unusual thing for me. But sometimes these very popular ramen shops, they might request that you only order 1 bowl. That's to keep the line moving, getting customers in and out, and there are people behind me waiting. So I basically asked, can I order 2? And the staff member was like, yeah, which one do you want first? I said, shoyu please, and then followed by the spicy miso. Order-wise, it's a little bit more complicated for them because they were nice and they brought me the shoyu out first, then the spicy miso. So they just have to keep track of, when I'm finished with my first bowl, all while they're taking other people's orders. Today was also a Sunday, so they have to deal with even more people. So first up, the shoyu. Now in a lot of ramen bowls, it's either the seasoning or the soup that's going to be the star of the show. In this bowl, and overall in this style, it's definitely the soup. The soy sauce is there, but it basically paves the way for the soup, which is pork bones and fish. The soup here was definitely the highlight. It was well balanced between that pork bone richness and also the fish. But the fish didn't really come at you that hard. It wasn't super fishy compared to some other bowls in this sort of pork bone / fish style. It was very smooth and carefully prepared. It didn't have a messy taste, and in that sense wasn't too heavy. But what was heavy were those thick noodles to soak it all up. Those were hefty noodles with great bite to them. The green spring onions or negi went well against the strong flavored soup, as did the cut up white raw onions. I tossed an egg in this one and in the next one, also contributing to my full belly. The topping that took up a large bit of that plot of ramen land was the brick of chashu pork. It was hefty and super filling. Really soft though, you pick it up, it falls apart, and a little bit dry, but sort of like in a pulled pork kind of way.
Great bowl. Moving on to spicy miso ramen. And they fill this one to the brim with toppings. You've got a lot of crunchy cabbage there, kikurage or wood ear mushrooms, big little bushels of it, and stir-fried onions and bean sprouts. They were looking at the playbook for Sapporo miso ramen for that. Another big slab of chashu pork that's sitting like a brick in my stomach right now. And there was a smaller piece of chashu too, so I feel like that one had more meat. Maybe they were toying with me. They're like, let's see if this idiot can finish this too. But I did somehow. Noodles were actually thinner in this one. And the soup was equally thick, equally rich as the shoyu bowl. But what was of course a huge difference was that miso flavor that was there and the spiciness. Chili oil that hits you in the back of the throat with every sip. It was pretty spicy, not insanely spicy, but definitely gonna make you sweat. Tasty, humongous bowls at Menya. As my face gets larger, I'm now contemplating my next move. And that next move I've decided is indeed gonna be curry ramen, a town over on the train. Curry ramen is a lesser known style of Hokkaido ramen, and it's my first time trying it out here in Hokkaido.
Now, curry ramen isn't that common, Japanese curry or otherwise. But again, there is a curry ramen from Hokkaido, and that's what we're grabbing. The history behind this ramen style is a little muddled. Tomakomai City is supposedly where it originated, at a ramen shop called Aji no Daiou. There's an Aji no Daiou in Muroran City, which is further south, and that's the result of someone training at the one in Tomakomai City and branching off from the family tree there. We're visiting the Tomakomai City one, which is meant to be the original Japanese curry ramen in Hokkaido. And to be honest, I don't know what to expect, outside of, yes, it being a Japanese curry ramen. If you've had Japanese curry before, that's a good thing.
It's always an adventure. I had a way to get here, but I didn't have a way to get back until now. I barely caught the bus that takes me directly to this ramen shop, Aji no Daiou. The only problem was the same bus going back, or the next one, would mean I would miss my flight. They don't run that often. So I ended up calling a taxi. I actually had to talk to the staff just to get a local taxi number. The first number I called was way up in Sapporo. I was like, oh, whoops, yeah, I should be calling something a little bit closer to home. But they're on their way and should be here in about 10 to 15 minutes. I will make my flight to Kushiro, our next ramen city, for the next video. So a little recap of Aji no Daiou's ramen. It's curry ramen. What else can you say? It hits the spot. It's a thick, almost stew-like Japanese style curry that is quite sweet. It also is fairly salty and has a nice peppery kick. You take a sip of the soup, that sweetness and saltiness is there immediately, followed by this peppery jolt that also hits you in the back of the throat. It's simple soul food, and they embrace that. Although it's impressive what the company has done. They've got a streamlined system inside, definitely a popular local place. People park, come in big groups, take advantage of the tables, and eat their curry ramen. They've also got a section where they're selling merch, t-shirts included. They've got a frozen ramen vending machine. They're doing everything they can. It's cool, as I was talking, all these truckers, there's a group of about 6 of them jumping into Aji no Daiou. And I didn't know they were truckers at the time, but now I see them all leaving in their trucks, and yeah, the parking lot is very empty after they've done that. And now that they're gone, I've been left bare in the sun. One of the big trucks I was behind and it was blocking the sun. Now I've got it right on my face. Anyways, that was kind of cool. A procession of trucks, if you will. So back to the ramen, simple soul food at its best, fairly thick noodles with nice bite to them. For the toppings, it's pretty simple. We've got seaweed, or I should say wakame seaweed, bean sprouts for wonderful crunch, spring onions or negi, and that's pretty much it.
Right at that moment, hence the abruptness, my taxi arrives and I have to rush to make my flight to Kushiro. And just like that, we're whisked away to another ramen city. It's bittersweet leaving Sapporo and also Chitose after all the great ramen memories there, but it's time to move on. Here's me right after I arrive in Kushiro.
Here in Kushiro, brand new ramen city, and this is going to be covered in the next ramen video. I hope you all enjoyed this ramen video, Chitose ramen / curry ramen. And if you did enjoy this, smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next ramen video, which is the last video in this Hokkaido ramen series. Thanks for tuning in, and see you in the next one, Kushiro Ramen, our final Hokkaido ramen destination. I'm now taking a road less walked. and as such, the snow is a lot deeper. I always take the road less walked. What's that Robert Frost poem? God, it's like exactly like that. Road less walked, path less walked. Oh my God. What is it? It's gonna drive me crazy.